Dr. Ronald Stimson sighed softly to himself, going deeper and deeper into the facility. The heavy briefcase chained to his arm made him wince with every step, the additional weight throwing him off balance enough to crick in his back, sending jolts of pain through him again and again. He didn't know why he'd been selected for this duty, only that he had been. An unfortunate case of circumstance, he supposed. After all, he was one of the last ones left alive. He never knew Site 19 ran so deep, or so far underground. The elevator had stopped after his ears had popped, and the stairs seemed to keep going on forever. Hours seemed to pass before they can finally be stopped, and he stared at a heavy iron door. His destination. He opened it, wincing slightly as the blast of stale air hit his nose. He walked in, turning on the ventilation and closing the door behind him, hearing it lock with an echoing click of finality. He set the briefcase on the table and sighed heavily, detaching it from his wrist, at last opening it, pulling out a file folder and setting it on the table. He sat down in front of it, knowing the procedure, and closed his eyes, breathing deep. It was a terrible risk. The worst one left, but it was all they had now. He opened the file and turned the first page. SCP-3245, The Living Storm, Object Class Euclid. Description: SCP-3245 is a cloud from... He closed it again, then reopened it. SCP-3246, Hell, Object Class Euclid. Description: SCP-3246 is a dimension parallel to our own, accessible only by... He closed it, sighing more deeply, shaking his head. This is wrong. Why did they think this would work? SCP-3247, The Atomic Ghost, Object Class Keter. Description: SCP-3247 was first noted in 2046 when it leveled the city of Hiroshima. He slammed it shut, holding his head in his hands. No! God damn it! He screamed. I don't care. I don't care if they won. This isn't right. We can't just do this. He shoved the file away from himself, getting up and pacing the room. They were dead, of course, all those people now. Every last one mentioned in the report, just like his friends, his family, dead. And he had as good as killed them. He paced the room, wondering how quickly the population on the surface was dropping. How much longer would they last? He closed his eyes, the stress of breathing making him ache. He walked to the papers, reaching down and picking them up, sitting them back down on the table. SCP-4474, The Apocalypse, Object Class Keter. Description: SCP-4474 was first absorbed in 1864, when an event believed to be the biblical rapture. He hated himself. SCP-6449, The Duke of Nevermore, Object Class Euclid. Description: SCP-6449 was first contacted at the Foundation after becoming aware of his omniscience and realizing that he was a danger to the universe. He wanted to die. SCP-8140, Dr. Wondertainment, Object Class Safe. Description: SCP-8140 was captured by the Foundation in 2018 after his production run of Mr. Ender caused... He was sure he deserved it by now. Positive of it. Completely positive. He stared at the ceiling. He was sure. Sometime in the past he heard some screaming somehow. Screaming from the top of the world. Claws scratching at the door at one point. Felt himself choke for an instant, but he was almost done. He closed his eyes, blinking so he could see again. He closed the file, opening it slowly. SCP-9996, Yourself, Object Class Keter. Description: Look what you did, Wand. The God. All of them. He stared at the short page. He had to be hallucinating. Wasn't there one of these that would make you go crazy if you just knew about it? Had he been infected? SCP-9997. It's still you, Wand. Object Class Keter. Description: You ended the world, Wand. This was a stupid plan when they came up with it, and you knew it. He closed it again, gagging slightly, then opened it. SCP-9998, Ronald Stimson. Object Class Keter. Description: you wanted this. You wanted this as almost as much as I did. Things would have been fine, perfectly fine, but they were too proud, and you were too willing. And now look what you did. Your wife, your family, everyone, everything you ever loved. Thank you. Thank you. Now there's just one loose end. He closed it, then opened it again, hands shaking. SCP-9999. A gun. Object Class Thanumal. Description: it's right next to you. Loaded, waiting. Go ahead. You know what to do. Stimson turned, looking down at the revolver. He reached for it, picking it up and cocking the trigger. His face ashen. Almost automatically he put it to his mouth and pulled the trigger, ending the last human life on the planet with a sudden thrash, sending the papers flying away from him, landing on the floor near his foot. The first page opened again. SCP-001, a sheet of papers, Object Class Keter. Description: